Darrin Robinson here, thanks to healthempowersyou.net. Okay, so what are we going to talk about this week? Well, I came across a post on social media, and this person was saying how they tried every diet out there, nothing worked, including a caloric deficit. The only thing that has worked is Ozempic. Now let me start by saying this. First off, a caloric deficit is not a type of diet. Okay, somehow people have gotten confused over the years, and people ask, should I go on a weight loss diet or a caloric deficit? I get very strange questions like that. Now, when I hear somebody say that I've tried every diet out there, including a caloric deficit, and nothing worked, it tells me a lot about that person. Okay, first off, let's explain what a diet is. A diet is a style of eating. If you're carnivore, you only eat animal-based products, okay? If you're a vegan, you only eat plant-based products. If you're on a ketogenic diet, you only eat so many carbs a day, and so on, okay? They're not weight loss tools. They're just a style of eating. Everybody is on a diet right now. Whatever you ate yesterday, that's your diet, okay? Kids are on diets. Everybody is on a diet. They follow a certain style of eating. You lose weight or gain weight in a caloric surplus or a caloric deficit, okay? So no matter what style of diet you are on, you need to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight, well, to lose fat. You can go on a carnivore diet or a diet that's very low in carbohydrates, and you're gonna have less muscle glycogen, you're gonna hold less water, so you will dump initially just water from your system, okay? That is weight, but it's not fat. You're going to lose fat only if you're in a caloric deficit. So if you go on a carnivore diet, you're only going to lose fat in a caloric deficit. If you eat too much, you're going to gain weight. If you're doing intermittent fasting, which I like to call skipping breakfast, but if you're doing intermittent fasting, you're only going to lose weight if you're eating in a caloric deficit. So if your maintenance calories are 2,500 and you're eating 2,000 calories intermittent fasting, you should drop about a pound of fat per week, okay? But you drop that same pound of fat per week if you weren't intermittent fasting and you're eating 2,000 calories a day. It's your caloric level, not the style or what time of the day you choose to eat it. You could eat one meal a day and gain weight, all right? So I want you to understand that first. Now back to this person's post. I've done every diet, including a caloric deficit, which means she doesn't understand anything about anything, and I didn't lose weight. The only thing that worked was Ozempic. Now, what does Ozempic do? I'm not going to get deep into the science. As we know, it was designed for people with diabetes, but then they found people are dropping weight on it. So as soon as you hear that, all of a sudden everybody starts thinking, if I can lose weight on this drug, I want to use it. I don't care what it was designed for. Now, here's the thing. How do they lose weight on Ozempic? Well, it kind of makes you feel like shit, okay? Expected side effects are vomiting, diarrhea, stomach cramps, bloating, all this kind of stuff. People start taking it, and we have this catchphrase called food noise, which I swear the food industry has paid marketing companies to come up with these terms, and they use them in commercials, you know, to just shut down that food noise. What is food noise? Oh, you think about food often? Well, guess what? So do I. But I don't think I have a medical condition, okay? I don't need medication to make me stop thinking about food. I live in a city where restaurants and street food is abundant. Anywhere I go, I must walk by 100 places and I get bombarded with millions of smells. If I'm in a caloric deficit trying to drop weight, my mouth is watering smelling that stuff, but guess what? I don't give into it, okay? I don't have food noise in my brain, okay? That's not a thing. What I'm thinking about is eating, all right? Very different. So anyways, the Ozempic shuts down your food noise by making you not feel like eating. All right? It doesn't make you feel like eating healthier or better. It doesn't make you want to understand how many calories you do require to have a healthy life, yet still drop body fat and maintain your muscle mass and quality of life and stuff like that and be nourished. All it does is make you feel nauseous, so you're not thinking about eating anything. Now, I've gone on diets personally back in the early days when I had no idea what I was doing, and I would do all kinds of weird diets. I went on a diet, for example, where I ate 7 cans of tuna a day, packed in water with hot sauce on them, and nothing else. Okay, that's all I ate every day, 7 days a week for a month, and I logged everything to see what was happening. I also went on my first ketogenic diet over 30 years ago, where I ate a 6-ounce chicken breast that was boiled, okay, and a 2-ounce glass of flaxseed oil for my meal 6 times a day, 7 days a week for a month. I absolutely hated it, okay? I would chug the flaxseed oil and I would dry heave over a sink because I found it so disgusting, and then I would eat my bland chicken. Now, that particular diet, okay, I'd be hungry through the day, and as soon as I thought of what meal I have coming up, my pukey flaxseed oil and my boiled chicken, I wouldn't be hungry again. That's basically what Ozempic is doing, right? It's just making you feel like you don't want to eat. This is why most people that go on Ozempic, they end up being malnourished because they're not eating enough. All right. And most of the time, the choices that they're making aren't good choices. Most of these people make very poor choices, eat a lot of highly refined processed foods. Those foods just have a lot of chemicals in them, a lot of highly refined sugars and fats and stuff like that. They're not a very high quality food, so you're not getting a lot of nutrients from them. But they continue to eat those same foods, only less. So we start to see signs like muscle loss, a ton of muscle loss, loss in bone density, their skin looks worse, their hair gets thinner, all the signs of malnutrition. They slow their metabolism, and then a lot of these people have to go on maintenance programs, continuing to take small microdosing of Ozempic to keep the weight off and to keep them from eating more, because as soon as they do eat more, their body is in such a deprived state, they're going to be packing on the pounds, okay? This is what happens. So it frustrates me when I see someone that says, I've tried every diet out there and nothing works, including a caloric deficit. Only Ozempic worked. Well, newsflash. If you're on Ozempic, you're in a caloric deficit because you're not eating enough. So don't tell me that a caloric deficit didn't work, but Ozempic did, okay? People need to understand this. There's this, I don't know, kind of like a dietary rose-colored glasses that people are wearing. And they believe what they want to believe. And in today's world, well, there's a lot of that. Facts are often trumped by opinions and feelings today. But it's a fact. You're not losing any body fat if you're not in a caloric deficit. So a caloric deficit will work. Now, that's not to say you might not hit plateaus because you've lost muscle mass or various other things. You need to adjust your calories. Sometimes what I'll do, actually most times, if a client does hit some kind of plateau, I take them out of the caloric deficit for a while, feed their bodies, and then put them back in the deficit, and they usually start dropping again. But remember, every diet works if you're in a caloric deficit, okay? No diet is going to work if you're not in a caloric deficit. And remember, diets aren't weight loss tools. In most cases, when someone says, I'm going on a diet, it just means they're changing the way they eat. So they normally eat junk food, whatever. Now I'm going to go on a paleo diet that has a certain name and style to it, okay? But you can eat the same garbage that you eat now, if you eat a lot of garbage, and reduce the amount of that, and you're going to lose weight, because that's exactly what happens on Ozempic. Like I said, people don't change their diet. They eat the same foods. They just eat much less of it because they don't feel like eating, because when they do, bad things often happen. Okay, so I figured I'd share that just to kind of open the eyes of some people that may think the way this person thought too. You know, that you've tried everything, you've done so well. There's no other option but taking drugs that make you do what you're supposed to do in the beginning. All right, there are better options. I'll tell you right now, my clients lose fat faster than people that are on Ozempic. They don't lose any muscle mass, they don't lose bone density, they actually increase all that stuff. Okay, they end up in better shape, faster, and healthier in the long run than people taking Ozempic. You want to take Ozempic? Hey, that's on you. You do whatever you want. But don't tell yourself, don't try to convince yourself that reducing your calories and eating better doesn't work for you. Because when you go on Ozempic, you're going to do exactly that, except you're going to feel like shit while you do it instead of feeling good. And you're going to end up with a slower metabolism and your body not as healthy as it was before you went on the Ozempic. Okay? So anyways, that's that for that week. So anyways, that's that for this week. I hope you got some value out of that. I'll see you next time. Thanks again to healthempowersyou.net.